for instance, your test in the assignment column or your assignment in the test column or some of the exam column, then I cap it at 50%. So this is according to the policy. I'm not sure if VC Assist or someone have communicated this to you guys, but according to what's happened, we've been told we cap it at 50%. So you can literally have 95% for your test, for instance, and I cap it at 50% just because you submitted in the wrong column. So you have to make 150% sure that when you do submit your particular assessment, that you submitted in the correct column. Otherwise, immediately capped at 50%. Okay, and honestly, guys, it breaks my heart. I had to, with the exam, there were people that literally would have had pass with distinctions that now barely passed the module because we had to cap it at 50%. Okay, true story. So just remember that. Make 100% sure that when you do submit, that you submit it in the right place. Okay, so guys, let's continue with chapter 11 that we started on Tuesday, and we had all the issues of Easy Learn. I already lectured this morning, and I only had to reconnect twice. So I think that the issues of Easy Learn is mostly resolved, but we'll see how it goes. If you maybe can't hear me at any stage, or I can see that my internet is dipping, I will just quickly reconnect. Sorry, guys, and then we will continue with class. So let's just quickly go through everything that we have done up until this point, just because all of us had to reconnect, connect on Tuesday. I just quickly want to go over everything with you. So we started speaking about what operations management is, and we said that companies want to make money and we want to achieve a competitive advantage. We can't focus on marketing and sorry guys, if you hear like tap 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 the whole time, that's the dogs running up and down. Okay, so we can't rely on sales and marketing to keep us afloat. We have to look at other parts of the business as well, and one of the biggest money eaters, or the costs of the business, will lie with operations management. So what is it? It starts everything from how the product is designed, planned, created, distributed, what the product is made out of, the packaging that it, for instance, comes into or comes in, how fancy it is, how durable it is, for instance. And then we looked at the importance of operations management. We spoke about the fact that it can reduce costs, increase our revenue. It reduces the amount of investment, the amount of capital that is needed to actually keep the company afloat. We looked at the different terms that we're using in operations management. So we have the operations function. So the operations function is where we utilize our resources to actually manufacture a product, and the operations manager is responsible for utilizing those resources effectively. And then operations management is about managing everything. So the operations manager's duties and responsibilities, as well as managing the operations function effectively as well. Then where we spent a lot of time was with the transformation model, where we spoke about our inputs that we have that goes into the transformation process. We have our transformation process, and then we have the output, which will be the final product or service. I also said that you must be able to discuss these 6 objectives. Guys, this is really important. So you have to make sure that when you get this in the test, the assignment, or the exam, that you can discuss all 6 of these and be able to also give your own examples in them. Maybe when you study, already write down some examples here so that you don't, so when the test or assignment or exam comes, you don't have to go and think about examples. You already have your particular examples. Then we looked at the components of the transformation model, and there we said we have input, the transformation process, and then we also have the output. So I asked you guys to do this activity for me, where if this is the final product or service, then what is the input and what will happen in the transformation process. So guys, then we started speaking about the fact that operations management has different characteristics based on the fact if we are manufacturing a product or if we are essentially manufacturing a service, because both a service and a product has a manufacturing process, so both of them will have an operations management model. So we spoke about the different characteristics, the volume, variety, variation, and the visibility of output. And then I said we are not going to do the activity now. We'll do it in the next class. So what I want you guys to do, I'll give you like 10, 15 minutes to quickly do this activity, and then we can discuss it. So the problem that we have is that Spur's current model of serving food is just not working for them anymore. They are busy losing customers because the customers are busy complaining. So they're saying that they are waiting very, very long for their food to be served. When their food eventually does arrive, it is already cold. And some customers have actually complained that some of the food is burnt. Others have found pieces of paper, plastic, as well as hair inside of their food. And they've asked us to design a new operations management model for them, which will allow them to serve the food quicker without really the customers noticing. We don't really want the customers to know or to notice that they only waited 10 minutes for the food, for instance. We want to ensure that the food is still warm when it reaches the table of the customers, and we want to deliver a very high level of quality service and food as well. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is, guys, I haven't done this activity with you. I'm now, why am I second guessing myself? No, I didn't. Okay, don't worry. So what I'm going to give you guys like 10, 15 minutes. What are the questions that we have to ask that will allow us to determine where the problem is? So we're not physically going to do the operations management model for them now. We first want to make a list of questions that we have to ask, where we want the answers from them that will allow us to determine what is the issue. So I want you guys to take every issue that we have here at the top. The fact that the customers are saying they are waiting too long for their food to be served, the fact that the food is already cold, the fact that the food is burnt, and the fact that they found plastic, hair, and paper inside of their food. Start with the first issue and then think of questions that we need the answers to. Do the second one, third one, and then afterwards we can have a chat. Okay, so guys, come back at like 25 past 10, and then we can have a chat about what are the questions that we have to ask to determine where the problem lies. Okay, so guys, let's quickly have a chat. What are some of the questions that you guys could come up with? So if we look at the fact that the customers are complaining that they are just waiting too long for their food to be served, what are some of the questions that we have to ask? And then also in when you answer this question, I also want to chat about where does the issue lie? Is it with the input? Is it the transformation process? Or is it with the output? So you are welcome to switch on your mics if you want to answer, or you can also just put it in the comment box, and then I will just read it out as well. Okay, so we're first going to deal with the fact that the customers are just waiting too long for their food to be served, and then from there we'll go on to why is their food cold. So when you're done with your questions, you can start posting them, and then we can have a chat about all of them. Okay, Daniela, you're exactly right. So we have to go and understand why is the kitchen so slow? So does the problem lie with the kitchen itself, or does the problem lie maybe with the fact that the food is ready, but the waiters are just taking so long to take out the food? So where is the problem? Are the staff trained efficiently? Exactly, Megan. Do they, is there maybe, are we maybe understaffed? We are still waiting for the stock to arrive. Guys, there's nothing worse. Like, actually, this is, I don't think I told you guys. I went to Krispy Kreme the other day and they had this banana split, no, but like a banana milkshake kind of thing. And I really like banana milkshake. So I wanted one. And then the lady said to me, they don't have all the ingredients. So I was like, but which ingredients do you need? And she said, chocolate. And I'm like, but it's a banana milkshake. Why would you need chocolate inside of a banana milkshake? And I looked at the picture, and the picture was just a banana milkshake. And I couldn't understand why you would need chocolate inside of the milkshake. So there's nothing worse than going to a place and then they are saying to you, sorry, we just don't have all the ingredients. Okay. So yes, so is my staff trained? Why is the kitchen slow? Am I understaffed? So I have one person that have to create 5 plates of food at the same time, for instance. Guys, then why is the food cold? What is happening there? Why are and why is only some of the food cold? Yes, Kiana, when I say the system is offline. Okay, so the equipment is faulty. They maybe, you guys know, if you guys watch MasterChef, you'll see that they have those globes that they put the plates under to keep the food warm. So it might not be a staff issue, it might be an equipment issue that we need to invest in some of those ovens or those globes that will keep the food warm. Once again, it might be that with the waiters, we are understaffed with waiters. Yes, the waiters are taking too long because they are busy. What kind of dishes are they using? So let's say maybe they're using the glass plates. I think will be the general one. But if they use like I know fish and chips sometimes come in like a cardboard box, that is not going to contain the heat a lot. So by the time you get home, for instance, from like the fish and chip shop, then by the time you get home, your fish and chips are already cold because it just doesn't contain the heat as much. So I'm already saying that's a very, very valid question to ask. Then why is the food burnt? Guys, what is happening here? Why is the food burnt? And remember that not all the food is burnt, only some of it. Guys, so the stove is faulty. Once again, we can maybe have a chef that is undertrained. So he, or once again, we can maybe have the fact that they're understaffed. He lost off Keanu. I'm gonna say this word, sen, sen. Okay, I'm joking with you. So there's a loss of concentration. Yes, they don't have enough people working inside of the kitchen. So while the meat is busy cooking on the stove, the poor chef has to do all the other stuff as well. By the time it gets back to the meat, it has already been burnt. Rushing to get it out very fast, so the stove is maybe just too hot. We are trying to just get the food out as fast as possible. Okay, guys, then the fact that, and I've put this up because this is true stories. The fact that some of our customers have found plastic, hair, paper inside of their food. I once found a fly inside of a pizza that was underneath the cheese, which says to me that the person that created the pizza, the fly was already there, and then they still put cheese on top of the poor fly. Wasn't very nice. In the same pizza, yes, yeah. In the same pizza, I actually also found like a long hair as well. Wasn't a very nice pizza. Okay, definitely wasn't a nice pizza. So what do we do here? Where does the problem lie? Is it with the suppliers? Is it with Spur itself? How can we determine? Kiana, I think it depends. I don't know. I don't know if I think we have to try. Murori saying maybe just try and connect. Can anyone else hear me? I think you guys can. Okay, she's reconnecting hundreds. Okay, so Kiana, I don't know. I don't know if we should maybe there's that old movie or it was an advert. I can't remember where the person had like a cockroach inside of their wallet, and then they would go to all these fancy restaurants and they would put the cockroach. Oh, I think it was a true story actually. I think I read an article about it, but this was years ago. And then they would put the cockroach in the plates, and then they would get the food for free. And then the only way that they caught the person is because he went to the same restaurant twice, over a certain amount of years. And then they actually recognized him. And that's how they caught him out. So that was actually a thing that he did. Yeah, to eat for free, to eat fancy for free. Okay. So guys, with this, where do you think the issue lies? Does the issue lie with the inputs? Does it lie? So our inputs, remember here, will be our labor, our ingredients, or does the issue lie with the transformation process, or is the issue with the output, the final product? And where do we have to go and fix? Morori saying, I'm with you 100%. I'm like the ultimate, like I have such a guilty conscience. It's like the worst. It's honestly the worst. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to pull that off either. I really don't think so. Okay, so yes, so I think the problem will lie with input. Yeah, Kiana, go and try it at the cafeteria and then come back and tell us if you actually came right or not. Okay. So yes, I think that the problem lies with the inputs in terms of the labor that goes into making the food, and then as well with the transformation process. And can you guys see how if there's an issue with the input or the transformation process, that it affects the output? And you can't really, one of the students told me that they actually once went to Spur and she ordered nachos. And it's almost like someone grated the cheese, but the plastic was still on the cheese. So, because there was pieces of grated plastic also part of her meal. And she sent it back and they said, no, they were going to fix it. And she got another plate of nachos and it once again had pieces of plastic inside of the cheese. And she sent it back again. And she said, you know what, rather just give me, rather just take it off our slip. I rather, I don't want to eat anymore. And then they said, no, 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 you are going to sit here. We are going to do this right. We are going to get this right. So she said that they held her hostage there until they could actually fix the plate of nachos that was 100% perfect. So the problem is that it's very hard to explain to someone um, that something went wrong in the process because you don't know if that person is going to come back. And that's an issue because people tell other people about their bad experiences a lot quicker and a lot more than what they'll tell them about their good experiences. And we don't want our customers to leave with a bad experience. Okay, so guys, let's continue. We also looked at the classification of the process types of products and manufacturing, and now we are going to look at the I don't know, guys. I always get this one. I don't know what happens here, but I always struggle with this one slide. So then we're going to look at the process types for services as well today. So when we look at the classification of process types for services, we have three different types. We have professional services, service shops, and then you have your mass services. So what happens with a professional services is where you have a very high client contact basis. So if you, for instance, think of a doctor or a dentist, you can see here that their volume is very low. A dentist or a doctor will only see one patient at a time. They don't see 5 patients at once, and then each person needs to explain to them what why they are there. So the volume that they are seeing is low, but the variety is quite high because every single person that goes to the doctor or the dentist will have another issue. Not everyone goes to them with a flu or a cold or because they bumped their toe, for instance. Then we have a service shop. So guys, you can also put Varsity College in here with a service shop. What happens with a service shop? This is essentially in the middle between a mass service and a professional service. So in a service shop, they will have certain policies and processes already in place. So the black and white the basis will already be in place. But they can also customize the service that they deliver according to the needs of the particular customer. So their service is standardized to a point. Like for instance, earlier when we started and I explained to Megan where to go and look for the exam mark, if I have to explain that to another student, the process is going to be the same. The steps is going to be the same. The only thing that might differ is the fact that I will put the one on email and the other one I will communicate directly to the student. So if a student asks VC Assist about supplementary exams, the answer might differ slightly because one person might just want to know when is the supplementary exams, another one wants to know when do I qualify for a supplementary exam. If a person understands immediately, the service will end. If a person wants more clarification, then the service will still continue a little bit longer. So with a service shop, like I said, it is standardized to a point, but the service itself is still quite personal because you do have someone that delivers the service to you. Then the next one is mass services. So you guys can see with a mass service, this is where the volume is quite high and the variety is very low. So this is where a mass service is a very standardized service. If you think, for instance, of Uber Eats, or you think of like the postman that comes to every house and delivers your post. It's a very, very standardized service. There's very little client interaction. You don't really wait for the postman to bring your mail, and you don't really have a chat to him about your mail and all of that. So um, it is normally very standardized. The mail is sorted, the postman picks it up, he delivers the mail, and he goes home. There's not a lot of variety. You can't say to him that you want your post delivered at 3 o'clock, for instance. It's a standardized process, and you get your mail when you get your mail. Okay. So, guys, what I've done is I've just broken it down here for you as well, just like I did with the products. So this will just give you a little bit more of an idea what the different types of services is about. So the next thing we're going to look at before we are going to take a break is we are going to start with operations design. So when we look at operations design, there are two different things that we need to consider. The first one is the design of the product and the service. So this is where we design the actual product. And the second one is the process design. So this is where we design the process that this product is going to follow while it is being manufactured. So obviously most products will start with a design, and then from there we are going to look at what we're going to look at the assembly line to determine what is going to happen first before something else needs to happen. So the primary aim is to provide a product and a service as well as a process that will satisfy the customer's needs. Sorry guys, it's just the dogs. So we have to look at the quality of the product, the cost of the product. Remember we said yesterday on Tuesday that quality and cost, if you have a high quality product, you will sometimes have to sacrifice the cost because a higher quality product is just more expensive. If you want a lower quality, if you want a lower cost product, then you will have to sacrifice the quality of the product a little bit. Then we also have to look at the lead time. By when does the customer want this product, or how long is it going to take to manufacture this product? The adaptability, reliability, and the service. We have spoken about cost, quality, lead time, adaptability, reliability, and service before. Okay. So guys, when we continue with the operations design, on the one side, we have the design of the products and the services. So this is just the steps or the process that's going to take place. We'll have a generation of the idea or the concept, like we want to manufacture a new type of Mercedes, for instance. Then we'll have a screening process. So we'll look at what the quality of the car will look like, what will more or less, what will be all the benefits or the accessories inside of the car. Is there a need for a new Mercedes, for instance? We'll have a preliminary design. We'll evaluate that. So we'll look at 4 or 5 different designs for the new car. Does it look like a Mercedes? Does it represent the reputation that a Mercedes has? Which design do we think will appeal most to our customers? And then we'll have the evaluation, improvement of the design, and lastly, we'll have the prototype and the final design. Then if we look at the design of the process, so we'll look at our supply network, where can we get our different raw materials from? We will do the layout of the factory to make sure that products do not go from point A on the one side of the factory to point B, which is on the other side of the factory. And then from there, we'll have we'll apply the process technology, and we will do job design as well. So guys, you'll see from time to time, I will put this on that says, ensure that you read through these pages. Just remember that I can't go through every single page, unfortunately, that is inside of the textbook. So although I do the majority of the chapter inside of our classes, there are still some parts that you will have to go and read by yourself. That will just give you some more clarity on the particular topic. Okay. So guys, let's just do one more slide and then we can quickly take a break. So when we look at the design of our products and services, the operations manager is responsible for the design of the product and the service. They are indirectly responsible for providing information and advice on the ultimate success of the development of and the manufacturing of the product and the service. So they are solely responsible for the design of the product and the service, but the rest of it, the development and the manufacture of that product or service, they are indirectly responsible for. So they are not directly responsible for the development and the manufacture. So after the product has been designed, then they essentially give it over to someone else, and another manager will then be directly responsible for the development and the manufacture of the product. Remember that a product that has been designed very well will lead to it being very reliable, will lead to it lasting for a long time. And that's what we want, because we want that particular competitive advantage. That is what we are craving for. The product and the processes will consist of the concept. There will be the actual package, so how are we going to package this product, as well as the whole process. So what is the process that this product have to follow in order to be a complete product at the end? Okay, so guys, let's quickly stop here. Let's quickly take a 15-minute break. Then we can all come back at 9 o'clock, and then we can continue with the rest of this chapter. Okay, so quickly take a 15-minute break, and then we can come back. Okay, so guys, let's continue with the operations design. So when we look at the operations design, there are two things that we have to consider. So the first one is how are we going to design our supply network? And then the second one is the layout and the flow. So I'm actually going to show you guys this diagram because this is just going to help me explain it a lot better. So when we look at the design of the supply network, remember that nothing that happens during the processing of that product happens in isolation. Even with, if we, for instance, start here, where we are assembling a car, we'll have a chassis, it will move on to the next step in the process. Once this step has been completed, it will move on to the next step in the process, the next step, and the next step. So when we look at what do we need in order to help us with our supply network, we have to go and look at the materials that we're going to use or the service that we are going to offer, who is our intermediaries, as well as who is our customers. We need to take the whole design of the supply network into consideration. We can't, for instance, have the painting happen here at the front when the chassis of the car has not even yet been assembled, for instance. So if for all the ladies, I can use this example. Imagine that you go for a manicure or a pedicure, and they paint your nails before they have even cut your nails, for instance. Just doesn't make sense. So there needs to be certain steps in the process, and those steps needs to follow in a chronological order that actually makes sense and that is cost effective. When we look at the layout and the flow of the process, we first need to select the process type. So there are 4 different types that we can choose from. And the first one is our fixed layout position. Then we have a product layout or a line flow layout. We have a process layout or a flexible flow layout. And the last one is a cellular layout. So with a fixed position layout, you guys can see here that think of a construction site. We're now busy building a building. We don't build this building somewhere else and then we bring it to the final place where it's going to stand. We bring everything to the construction site. We bring the bricklayers, we bring the bricks, the crane, the resources, all the labor, everyone goes to the construction site. So the construction site does not move around as in terms of who is busy with the next step. We go to the construction site. Then the next one is the product layout. So the product layout, this is where something will happen in a consecutive logical flow. So if you can, for instance, think of Coca-Cola, they will first melt, or they'll first have all the bottles, and then they will melt the bottles so they are a little bit bigger, and then they will start putting in the cool drink. After they have put in the Coke, then the bottle will be bottled. After it has been bottled, it will be wrapped. After it has been wrapped, it will, for instance, go into a box. So we start with nothing and we end with a final product. Then when we look at the process layout, this is where similar processes are grouped together. So think, for instance, if we use the example of Coca-Cola, the one process is where they receive plastic from a plastic manufacturer and they melt the product or the bottle into a bottle shape. In the next section, this is where they put all the ingredients together that will actually become the final Coke product. And then they might have another section where all the labels are printed and cut. glued as well so long, so that once we have actually melted the plastic down into a bottle form, we can just take the bottle, we can fill it up with Coke, we can put on the label, and then we are done. The Coke bottle's ready and it can be shipped out. The last one is a cellular layout. So you guys can think here, for instance, of like a Woolworths. At a Woolworths, we don't find clothes inside of the food section. You won't find any female clothes in between the male clothes, except if it's a Woolworths sale. I went with my husband the other day and we found like tops and skirts and stuff in between the male section. So we were a bit confused, but we then decided that it was probably just someone that didn't want it anymore and they put it in between the other stuff at the male section. So this is where we all have a layout according to the products and the needs of the customers. So there will be a separate layout for the food, for instance. We'll have a separate layout for the main section, and we will have a separate layout for the women's section. So these sections will essentially never mix with each other. They will still be under the same roof, like with the Woolworths, but they will never mix with each other. So the next thing we're going to look at is the operation with regards to the operations design is our job design and work organization. So there's a few things that we have to know with regards to operations design. The first one is job design. So the job design determines how workers will perform their tasks. We are essentially designing the job from scratch. And this will include all the duties and the responsibilities that the particular person that will perform that job will have. Then the next one is the work organization. So this refers to the application of different techniques that will study all the factors that influence the people in the work environment, and we are going to try and improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of the person that is actually doing that job. So guys, if we go back to this example, think for instance of an employee that is working here, and then he has to walk all the way to this side of the factory to do something here. Then he has to walk all the way back again to finish his job here, only to walk back all the way to finish to do the next part of his job here. This is not cost effective, and it is also not productive. So we have to create a work organization where our staff is also efficient as well as effective. Then the next thing we're going to look at is the method study. So the method study is where we're going to look, we are critically going to investigate the present as well as the proposed work methods that we can use in order to create more effective work methods that will reduce costs. Is there another process that we can install? Is there maybe something that we can shift around that will ensure that the product is manufactured quicker and that our employees are both efficient and effective? The last one is the work measurement. So this is where we will look, we will determine how long does it take for a worker to do a specific job at a fixed level of performance. So that just means we will try and determine how long does it take from when this particular worker starts the particular job up until when he actually finishes with that job. Similar to when we manufacture a product. How long does it take from when the Coke is ready to be bottled up into when it is on the truck ready to be delivered? We will do the exact same thing, but just with an employee. By doing this, we can actually go and determine where is the person lagging, where are they wasting time, not on purpose, but where are they wasting time? So I think, for instance, if a person has to staple a lot of papers together, and every time he has to go and look for the staples, which is inside of another room, can we maybe move the staples closer to him so that he doesn't have to get up and go and look for staples every single time? So guys, what I wanted to do, I have another activity for you. This one is similar to the spur one, but it's a little bit different. So you went to one of your favorite fast food restaurants. This one is called Italy Fast Food. And you were very disappointed because you had a very bad, unpleasant experience. So when you went into the restaurant, you saw that the table hasn't been wiped from when the previous customers have left. There was a pool of spilled cool drinks still at the floor. The waiter told you that unfortunately you can't order any pizza. They've just ran out of pizza bases, and that they only have sides and pasta. So, how do you feel about a side and a pasta? And while you were waiting for your pasta, you heard other customers also complaining about their experience at the restaurant. So when you got home, you decided that you wanted to contact them. I know these days you'll put it onto Facebook or Instagram. So I want us to look at the following questions. What are the operational checks that should have been in place that were not followed by the cleaning and the kitchen staff? And then why is it important to do those operational checks for the customer, and explain why? That's what I just said. Explain why it's important for a restaurant to ensure that all the checks are followed, and why is this so important to a customer. So guys, I'm going to give you once again 10-15 minutes to do this activity, and then we will quickly discuss your answers afterwards. Okay, so guys, let's quickly have a chat here. What do you think are the operational checks that were supposed to be in place and that were supposed to be followed but was not followed? Okay, guys, any answers? What operational checks were supposed to be in place and were supposed to be followed but was not followed? Okay, so guys, what operational checks was supposed to be in place and was supposed to be followed that was not followed? No, sorry guys, I didn't see it. What did Omar, would you just mind copying and pasting yours? Again, I didn't see yours. I think maybe somewhere I had a connection issue, maybe something happened somewhere. Just quickly copy and paste it for me again, please. Okay, yes. So the table, so there are obviously certain checks that is in place. So every time a customer leaves, then the table, with now with COVID as well, we need to ensure that the table's clean, the table's sanitized, that the salt and peppers put at their in their proper place again. Guys, honestly, I think spilled cool drink is something that should be cleaned up immediately. It's not really something that I think should wait until the customers have left. I think that is more something that needs to happen immediately. Then what about the kitchen that ran out of pizza bases? What is happening there? That's another operational check that should have been looked at. We can't run out of ingredients. It just gives a bad It gives us a bad reputation. And like we said earlier, it's embarrassing to tell a customer that we don't have all the ingredients, especially something as important as a pizza base. I think if we don't have the ingredients versus like salami versus ham, for instance, or cheddar cheese versus mozzarella, you can still substitute the one for the other one. But I mean, you can't not have a pizza base. It's not like a naked burger where you just can remove the buns. With a pizza, if there's no base, it will just be a mess of random meat and cheeses and tomato sauce melted all over each other. It's not going to work. So it's very embarrassing. Okay, so guys, let's continue. So the reason I wanted you guys to do this activity is because part of operations planning and control is that operations planning and control compromises all the activities that is required to put this operational process into action, and to efficiently on a continuous basis, so that the products that are manufactured can continuously meet the needs of our customers and clients. So this is why the operations, the planning, and the control thereof is a very active process, because it is something that happens continuously. When we see that we're going to run out of pizza bases, we need to order again. We can't say that we only order once a week, for instance. So by Saturday and Sunday, we don't have any more pizza bases and we have to wait for Monday. So it's something that we have to stay on top of, no matter if it is a product or if it is a service. Remember that your customers' needs keeps on changing. Years ago, we were okay with products that we didn't really know what the ingredients were. Now we are moving to our customers' needs have changed in terms of we want to know what is inside of this product. Where does this product come from? Is it sustainably sourced? Is it recyclable, for instance? Was it made from recyclable material? And I don't know about you guys, but I will rather buy something that's been made from recyclable material before I will buy something that, if I have to choose between two products, the one was made from recyclable material, I will rather buy that product. Remember the beginning of the year we spoke about recycling as well, and if you guys recycle at home or not. Okay, so remember, with customers' needs, we have certain objectives that we have to meet as a company. We've already been through them. So quality, cost, the lead time, adaptability, reliability, as well as a good service. So guys, when we talk about quality, the problem with quality is that it is a very subjective term, because there's no black and white for what quality means. If I have to show you, let's take a jean from Pick and Pay, for instance, some of you might say to me, "Ooh, this is quite a good quality." Others will say, "Oh no, this is terrible quality. Look at the stitching, it doesn't fit properly." So one thing that might be of a high quality or an okay quality to one person might be of a very low quality to another person. So when we look at what quality, remember it also depends on how price sensitive we are. If we are quite price sensitive, we will rather buy a product that is of less quality, and we will sacrifice the quality of the product a little bit. The problem is that there is a difference between the expected quality and the perceived quality, and this is known as the quality gap. So we have to try and eliminate this quality gap as much as possible, because obviously our customers expect a certain quality from us, and when they actually look at the product or buy the product and there's a difference between what they thought they were buying in terms of quality versus what they actually got, they will be dissatisfied. And that's not what we want. I remember I once bought a shirt from Woolworths, and you guys know Woolworths is quite expensive, and it was stitched skew. So the whole shirt didn't sit right because the shirt was stitched like literally like skew. It was cut horribly. I had a friend who also bought a dress from Truworths. When she fitted the dress was up and was where her ankles were. After she washed it, it shrunk more or less to where her calves were. And that is not something you expect from Truworths, for instance. So you have a certain quality or an idea of quality in mind, and if it doesn't match to what you have in mind, there's a problem, and that is where that quality gap is going to be. So when we look at the steps in the quality control process, the first thing is we have to define the quality characteristics. So will make this product seem like a high quality product? What are the characteristics that we have to focus on that will ensure that the customer sees this product as a high quality product? Then we have to measure these quality characteristics. Is it really of a high quality? Who are our suppliers, for instance? We have to set standards for each quality characteristic. So we, for instance, have to say that if we are talking about a dress, that the material needs to be of a certain quality, the stitching needs to be of a certain quality, the any buttons that are sewed onto the dress needs to be of a certain quality. Then we'll have controlling the quality against a set standard. So obviously we'll have certain standards that has to be met. And if this dress does not meet those standards, then we cannot sell this dress. We will then identify and rectify the causes of the poor quality so that we can ensure that we do not manufacture a dress again that is not of a certain standard. Guys, if we keep on manufacturing something that is of a lower standard, then something is wrong somewhere. Either we need to change our standards or we need to change the process. Okay, there's something wrong. We can't keep on manufacturing a product that does not meet our own standards and keep on making excuses for the fact that the product did not meet our standards. And then last one, we need to continuously improve on the quality of the product. I don't know if you guys saw, but with Koo, for instance, Koo is busy recalling some of their tins that they said there's something wrong in the seam of the tin, which the tins were leaking. So essentially it's unhygienic because bacteria and just germs and everything can go into the cans and the people can get really, really sick. So obviously they also have a quality standard. One of their quality characteristics will be that the tins do not leak. And if they leak, it means we did not achieve that particular quality standard that we wanted, and we have to do something about it. So what they're doing now is they're busy recalling it, but I can promise you guys, in the background, they're also ensuring that something like this does not happen again. I saw the other day how much millions of rands is it costing them to recall these tins. I think it's around I'll just quickly Google it, guys. It's around a loss of 500 to 650 million rand. That is what it's going to cost Koo to recall all of these products, because obviously they now have to refund the customers that have bought those products. Problem is, if you have to take your cans back, or you're going to buy Koo again, that's the question. Okay. Or are you rather going to look at an alternative product just because you had a bad experience with Koo specifically? So guys, when we look at, this is the last one we're going to do, guys, then we are done for today. Yay. So when we look at operations improvement, we have to continuously keep on improving. We can't stagnate and stand still and think that we have the best, most awesome manufacturing process in the world. You can only improve your performance through performance measurement. We have to continuously measure if we are still on track with regards to our operations process. It's similar like with the Olympics, where have athletes that are running or swimming or throwing things. The only way that they can see if they are improving is by, for instance, checking the distance that they are throwing, or the distance that they are running, or how fast they are swimming. If any of them didn't know how fast they were swimming, how will they know what to compare their progress against? So there are 4 types of performance standards. The first one is historical standards. This is where we will compare our current performance against previous performances. Then we'll have our target performance standard. This is where we'll look at our present performance and we'll compare that with predetermined standards. So if we, for instance, think of swimming, we want to swim the 50 meters in, let's say, 60 seconds. So, but our standard is actually 50 seconds. So currently we are swimming at 60 seconds, but we want to get to 50 seconds. That's a predetermined standard. We can also look at our competitors' performing standards. So what are they doing? And we can compare our standards that we have according to their standards. And then the last one is the absolute performance standard. So this is where we are comparing our standard to what is the maximum achievable standard. So if you, for instance, think of swimming again, it is literally, for instance, if you know that it is impossible, physically impossible, to swim less than 45 seconds per 50 meters, then you know that that is a standard that I have to measure myself against. Humanly, it is physically impossible to swim faster than 45 seconds. So I know that I can't aim for 40 seconds because it is impossible. So I can measure my standard of 60 seconds according to the human standard, which will be 45 seconds. So guys, how can we improve ourselves? We have 2 different types. We have a breakthrough improvement and then we have a continuous improvement. So a breakthrough improvement is where is that light bulb situation. Is that, oh, this is so cool, let's do this. It is something that happens, it's very dramatic, it doesn't happen regularly. This is, for instance, where a Checkers or a Pick n Pay will close down their store to redo everything inside of the store. So they will redo the whole process. Like I said, this happens on a very large scale. So this does not happen on a regular basis. The other one is a continuous improvement. So this is where things happen on a smaller scale. We will work on the bakery first. We will improve the process in the bakery, and then we'll move on to the fruits and vegetables. We will improve our processes with fruits and vegetables, and then we will move on to the shelves, for instance. We will change our shelves, and then we will move on to the tills. So things happen on a continuous timeline, but it's little changes, okay, just so that it doesn't impact the customers as much. Okay, so guys, the last thing we're going to look at is our total quality management. So I'm quickly going to go over total quality management. This is where we have to ensure that we continuously look at the whole process. We shouldn't just look at one part of the organization. Remember that our primary aim is to satisfy the needs of our customers, and we can only do that with a high quality product. When we look at what total quality management is about, the first thing, meeting the needs of our customers. Then it covers all the parts of the business. It's not just about marketing. It is not just about operations. Every single part in the business, every single department in the business plays a role in total quality management. We can't have one department or one part of the business that are lacking. Then we need to make every employee quality conscious. They need to know that customer service is at the forefront of what we want to achieve. And we need to deliver a good customer service because that is how we're going to get our customers to come back. If we are in the manufacturing industry, we have to ensure that we deliver a good quality product. If we have a good quality product, we know that our customers is going to buy our products again. Like we've said, we have to do things right the first time, and it's not enough to do it right the first time. We have to do it right every time. And we have to develop and implement systems for so that we can have a continuous high level of quality. And lastly, we need to have a continuous process for improvement. We always have to try and improve ourselves. Sorry, guys, my voice is failing me. Okay, so when we want to implement total quality management, we have to look at the business strategy. We have to ensure that we integrate, that we involve total quality management in the overall business strategy. This will require top management and every single employee's support and involvement inside of the business. We need to ensure that there are teamwork. Remember that we can't do things in isolation. So we need to work together as a team so that we can achieve more. We need to give continuous feedback, and we also need to continuously train our employees. We'll speak more about training employees in our next chapter, which will be HR management. We'll speak about training and developing our employees. Okay, so guys, what I want you to do for me after class, so this is something you'll do at home. I have already posted this activity under more resources and lecture slides. I want you guys to work through this Click a Brick case study on BC Learn. And I want you guys, there's only one question that I want you guys to answer, but I want you, remember we said on Tuesday that we have to focus more on application. So using the theory as a basis and applying the theory to the real life example. So I want you guys to get into that habit of applying. So literally I can wake you any time of the night and ask you to apply the operations management model to anything, to any situation, and you should be able to do it. Okay, so guys, that's it for today. We are done. And you guys actually don't have class tomorrow, if I'm correct, or am I lying? Let's hope that I'm correct. Okay, 100% guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Guys, did most of you pass? I just want to quickly check. Most of you got your final marks. Any subs? I hope there are no subs. Okay, if you passed, you can leave. Joke. Anyway, okay, bye guys, enjoy the rest of your day.